We've not talked about her in a while, but Blair White has been on a rampage since Donald Trump took office. Doesn't matter how much his approval rating has dropped, she seems to be on a continued, multi-year-long victory lap over how Donald Trump's policies are epically owning trans people. I should also note that Blair White moved to Texas about 5 or 6 years back because she wanted to LARP about how Texan politics and Texan politicians she just wanted to LARP about how much better Texas was than California, LA to be specific. About a year into Trump taking office, Blair White moved out of Texas and back to LA. I think that tells you everything you need to know about what a grifting liar she is. One of my favorite hits of hers, by the way, was when she lied about trans women being able to get cancer in their cervix when they've gotten bottom surgery. Turns out they can. She lied and said they couldn't, and then cropped a Canadian Cancer Society article out of context to try and make it seem like it says that they can't, when in reality it says they do and should get checked for it because, yeah, she literally spread deadly medical misinfo to try to own a trans activist. She is truly evil. We hate Blair White here, but I thought we'd go ahead and check in on her and see what she's been up to lately. Predictably, she's just as evil as ever. Her most recent one that she's put out, her most recent video, is called Trans Activists Are Crashing Out. So I thought we'd just go ahead and give it a watch and maybe repay a little bit of the bullying back on Blair White. She is a professional bully after all, so I think we should come into this and, you know, like I always like to be, just be really mean. Here we go. Alright, let's go ahead and check this out, shall we?
I'm gonna vomit.
I don't want to get pregnant, but if I did, I would get an abortion. And I support anyone's right.
You can really see why God flooded this shit, huh?
What the am I, you know? And I'm at the point where I'm like, maybe that is the gender, is that I don't know what the I am.
Trans women are crying out for justice. We are crying to be heard.
I don't know how many trans teachers there are, but I'm one.
Teaching what? What could young, innocent souls have to learn from you?
I'm trans.
Whatever the fuck their job is to teach?
I use they, them pronouns, but I'm also kind of just a girl sometimes, it turns out.
My name is she, her. Sometimes it's they, them. Please don't call me he. Please don't call me him.
It's been a while since...
She really is good at finding some of the most, like, cringe examples you can. Like, make no mistake, being cringe is not a moral failing, but people that watch Blair White absolutely think it is. Like, there's a certain point where the average person who watches Blair White thinks if you're cringe enough, then you pretty much just deserve to die. She's kind of a holder-on of this, like, weird era of politics that Shoe-on-Head also kind of embodies, ironically. Like, Shoe-on-Head and Blair White kind of have a lot of audience overlap. It's this sort of... I guess the best way I can put it into is, like, Mean Girls. They're like snarky Mean Girls of politics, stuck in, like, 2016, 2017, obsessed with culture war stuff that's not even really relevant anymore. Everyone ages, lol. Yeah, it's true.
We have dove into the world of trans activists and TikTokers, and in light of everything happening in the world, you know, people finally pushing back in a legal way against sort of the excesses and toxicity within the trans cult movement. I found myself wondering, you know, how are they coping? Are they healing?
In a legal way? Mind you, this is the woman who spent years saying the trans activists are making up oppression and asking what rights do you not have that other people do. And now she's like, okay, now that people are pushing against the trans insanity in a legal way. Mind you, this is a trans woman who fled Texas, where she moved, back to LA to escape their anti-trans laws, then goes on the internet and supports these anti-trans laws safely from LA where they can't affect her, and continues to make all of her transphobe bucks.
Are they in the process of healing? Are things getting better? Are they changing strategy? Any of the above, and we're gonna find out today. So let's take a look and see how things are going.
History
Oh boy.
will remember how you protected us. I am a proud, out, openly transgender woman. I am 25 years old, and I stand before you today asking that you would protect transgender women across this city, especially black trans women and trans immigrant women and trans kids who are ignored, targeted, and left unprotected.
To be clear, everything she's saying here is absolutely based, but all the people watching Blair White, and Blair White herself here, is someone being loud and impassioned, and that's cringe. Having any strong convictions that make you loudly project an emotional, emphatic opinion, you're immediately seen as gay and cringe. Yeah, they see being this impassioned about something as humiliating. They would literally feel humiliated if they were in her position. And so they hate her for not feeling humiliated while doing something that would humiliate them.
Women are crying out for justice. We are crying to be heard. We are asking you to do your job and pretend.
What are you, a black preacher? You see how she's trying to sound like a black preacher? I think once she said the word black.
No, she's literally just speaking in a emphatic way. Also, I do appreciate that Blaire White is presumably properly gendering this lady, because Blaire White pretty much considers whether or not you're real trans based on how much you pass. That is to say, I guess once you've been on hormones and whatnot and gotten enough procedures, then and you pass enough in her eyes, then she'll validate your gender by calling you she or her or he or him, whichever you prefer. But if you, I don't know, don't pass well enough, she basically just will use you as some kind of attack against the trans community. It's really disgusting stuff. If you've watched her stuff for a while now, you've seen how she does this, and she's gotten into a lot of drama for it before, too. She loves to lie. There was a weightlifter, a trans weightlifter, who was very famous and well accomplished as a male weightlifter, and transitioned and insisted upon continuing to lift with men instead of lifting against women. In competition. Janae Marie Kroc, I believe her name was, yeah. Blaire White didn't actually read the article, though, and just decided, oh, look, a trans woman who's a bodybuilder, she must be insisting on competing against cis women, and reported on this person as such, encouraging her audience to attack this person, when it turns out the very post that Blaire had gone off of literally says, she shows it on screen, just never reads it, and neither did her audience. It literally says that she herself insists upon continuing to lift against men. So Blaire had to retract it, do a big apology, and let me tell you, it is not the only insane lie that she's told on that level, where she just blatantly ignores the truth and tries to push a lie in order to hurt somebody, hoping she won't get called out for it, and then being forced to put out a tear-filled apology where she says she'll never do it again, right before she does it again.
When she said black trans women, it's like something came over this bitch. I don't really know. It's giving that Hillary Clinton video.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far.
We are crying to be heard.
But I like how they never actually explain what they need protection from. It's just a bunch of screaming and devilry into a mic, demanding what exactly?
Okay, let's go down the list. So in the state of Florida, if you go into a state bathroom or state facility and you try to use the bathroom of your choice as a trans person, you can be charged with a crime and end up in prison. We had a trans woman on the stream to talk about her continued legal battle to stay out of prison. She thankfully won, but the state was trying to send her to prison for being trans and using the bathroom at, I think it was the Capitol, if I'm not mistaken, using the women's bathroom there. On top of that, the state is now banning the teaching of what is currently the consensus on biology and psychology in regards to gender and sex right now, meaning that in states like Florida that have passed Don't Say Gay bills, professors either have to leave the state or just students have to stop taking psychology and biology classes because the professors are not allowed to teach the curriculum because it disagrees with what conservatives think, which means that students in the state of Florida, for instance, as one example, can no longer get psychology and biology degrees. Particularly psychology. A lot of psychology professors are leaving Florida because they can't teach it. You can't get a degree if you cannot pass the curriculum, and you have to be taught the subject matter to be able to pass the curriculum, so they just can't, you cannot get accredited for that in the state of Florida. They banned the teaching of it in schools and in universities. So, and on top of that, there was the defunding of the Department of Education, which was deliberately meant to add on to this, and then of course you've got the fact that now trans people are having their IDs unvalidated in states, all sorts of red states right now. We covered that one as well. We had a case where a trans girl was not allowed to, or no, it was a trans guy was not allowed to graduate unless he agreed to wear a dress and all that. That shit was crazy. Who remembers that story? Like, dude, I could go down these are just off the dome, dog. These are just off the dome. There are websites dedicated to putting lists together of the examples, okay?
Are you going to bring up the murder rate? You need protection from violence? Because if you look at the murder rate, it's not higher than the average population. And that's probably on me to expect you to have any sort of sense to be able to articulate at all. However, you would think if this is your shot, then say what you want. But they don't actually say what rights they want out loud because it sounds bad. They can't say, we need you to continue to let us sterilize children. We want you to continue to...
Who is sterilizing children? In what state? In what country of America has it been legal to sterilize children? This isn't a thing. In fact, the very thing that she likes to demonize, the thing that does happen, is giving hormone blockers to teenagers. This is something that's happened since before trans people were a thing. Hormone blockers were invented for teenagers with hormone disorders. They're made for teenagers. They're made for people going into puberty. Well, granted, adults can take them, and they do, but a lot of preteens and teenagers, like, they're the ones who benefit the most from it, because that's when you start having the most severe effects of hormonal disorders. So the idea that giving teenagers hormone blockers is dangerous is crazy, because the only time it ever became controversial was when it was suggested as a treatment by doctors and scientists, of course, for gender dysphoria. You don't just manifest hormone blockers, by the way. It is doctors and scientists and psychologists and therapists who prescribe this stuff after rigorous research and training, what's the word for it? Therapy and conversations with the subject in question. And you wouldn't be taking anything like hormone blockers unless you're already a teenager going through puberty. So we're not talking about children being sterilized here. There's no sterilization happening, or at least it's a very, very, very rare side effect, as all medications have side effects. But even then, we're talking about post-pubescent teenagers, not children. You know, we're playing word games here, Blair.
Let us dominate in women's sports. Leah Thomas needs to be back on the team. Like, those things are long gone. So now it's just evolved into a bunch of screaming, and it's really embarrassing. You need protection from yourself. And also use protection, please. I'm gonna vomit. Okay, let's just do it.
I didn't say this. I did not say.
Blair, I don't think you realize how much like a plastic surgery creature you look, okay? I don't think you realize how much that everybody now knows what it looks like to have way too much plastic surgery. Like, people now know that your look, the super square jaw and like the high cheekbones and the nose that like droops down and then slopes out like that, and like the absolutely no protrusion around here. A lot of that's FFS, but a lot of it is also just straight up common bimbification plastic surgery processes, and everybody knows how to recognize it. Her lip fillers and everything. We recognize everything. The septoplasty, or not the rhinoplasty, and septoplasty. You can see she's had both. Like, everybody knows. You are a insecure little gremlin who has basically ripper-docked yourself. If your physical enhancements to yourself were cybernetics and cyberpunk, you would be Atom Smasher, okay? I know that seeing the appearance of someone who has not gone through insane amounts of cosmetic surgeries makes you want to puke, because your own body, pre-body modification, makes you want to puke, okay? We know you're insecure, all right? We know.
This. If for some reason I did get pregnant, and I don't want to get pregnant, but if I did, I would get an abortion. And I support anyone's right.
You can really see why God flooded this shit, huh?
She looks like a blow-up doll. Real. Thank you for the $2 She does. She low-key does look like one of those, like, you know, in Family Guy, whenever like Quagmire has like a blow-up sex doll, and it's just comically like, it's just you know, it's just comical looking. Blair White does kind of look like that. I ain't gonna lie. That's gonna be the most misogynistic thing I say on the stream today. Sorry for all the women watching, but I hope you understand. I had to do it to her.
I kind of get it. I can't get pregnant, but if I could, I would my baby is crazy. This video is sponsored by Test Her Up, which is...
I will say, the whole, like, if I could get pregnant, I would get an abortion line is pretty goddamn cringe. You know, it's like, okay, like, all right, good to know, I guess. All right. Like, no, because the thing is that, like, women don't really fantasize about having abortions like that. That's not, like, that's almost like a parody of what conservatives think women are like. Like, no woman wants to have an abortion because by that point, things have already gotten very bad. You know, there's already been multiple mistakes made if a woman is going in for an abortion. And that's what she's chosen, and it's not an ideal scenario. So, like, it's a weird... It's definitely weird, I won't lie. We're skipping the sponsored segment. Sorry, Blair, no money for you.
Video, and now on to the rest of the video. Like, we're reaching levels of Satanism
Okay.
that I guess are biblical. Insane. But can someone please tell me what we're at?
Yeah, I don't know what is, like, are all of these conservative influencers just, like, Christ-pilled? Like, half of their insults are, you're literally satanic, bro. Because Nextaku was doing this too, like, quoting Bible verses and shit.
Actually gonna do about this person, because I have seen literally viral videos of liberals calling out Lily Tino. I have seen, what's his name? The twink? I think his name's Dean or something. Dean even debated this heifer.
I heard you say something along the lines of that I wasn't a good example for the trans community, so just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on that.
Oh, I like how Blair's literally acknowledging that the left is not a monolith right now and that trans and leftist creators have been calling out individuals within the trans community that are just insane but happen to be trans and use their identity to try to butt their way into political movements for a while now. But she's trying to, like, not really acknowledge the fact that the left actually polices itself in some manner and calls out people like this and doesn't allow them to become figureheads of the community, ideally. But the right absolutely does let the worst of its figures become the voices of its community easily and with no pushback. I love how we're just going to skirt around that little detail.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'll share what I know. So first and foremost, I think that there's a handful of things that you do in which serve as regressive to the trans community because they play into the hands of the stereotypes that are perpetuated.
Like, even him, right? So if everybody agrees on something, at what point does change not occur? Also, can we talk about the fact that I think this is a psyop? I think this creature, is it a Fed? It seems to be only Feds and government employees that get away.
I'm not gonna lie, Blair White is probably paid by Israel. Like, I think most conservative pundits at this point, and maybe even some of the most ridiculous and cringe lefty pundits, to be fair, maybe this person, are like, paid opposition by Israel. Like, I sometimes, I'm thinking to myself, and I'm like, man, how crazy would it be if it found out Hassan was being backed by Israel? You know, like, I've had, like, it feels plausible, you know? It definitely does feel plausible, but as for Blair... I mean, she's friends with people who got outed by the DOJ for literally being paid by Russia. So, yeah, just saying.
With talking to minors, which is something that Lily Tino has done on camera, allegedly. So, is this some sort of, like, movie playing out in front of us? Lily also clearly has, like, massive support from TikTok. I mean, I can't even get verified on TikTok, by the way. Can I just say, to get verified on TikTok, you have to submit, like, 3 mainstream news articles about you, which I did. And I've gotten denied every single time, no matter how big the articles were, it didn't matter. So I'm like, okay, this heifer gets boosted in the algorithm, verified down, rejected by God, but verified by TikTok. If I got pregnant, I'd get an abortion. I hate this. Like, what? Who says that?
I'm trans, I use they, them pronouns, but I'm also kind of just a girl sometimes, it turns out, and I'm just really grateful today that I have the best fucking friends in the entire world.
To D&D today, this was literally the fit.
This person is infinitely happier than Blair White will ever be. I'm not even gonna lie. This person is happy, and you can tell, and will be way happier than Blair White can possibly dream of being.
Adderall psychosis is so real. It really is. You mix...
Yeah, Blair White and a lot of conservatives are anti-ADHD medication, like as a political statement. Like, they believe that people who take ADHD meds and have ADHD... For one, they believe ADHD is made up, and they believe anyone who takes ADHD meds is an addict who's addicted to their ADHD meds, which is like... Only conservatives could come up with something so hilarious. I don't have ADHD meds, but I know people who do take them. And the most common thing is, aw shit, I forgot to take my ADHD meds. Which, not exactly addictive behavior, but what do I know? You know, addicts forget to take the thing they're addicted to all the time and go days at a time forgetting to take the thing they're addicted to. Happens all the time. And they, of course, love to claim that ADHD medication is quote-unquote literally meth, which is not true. They don't understand chemistry, though, so shouldn't surprise you that they're so wrong about it, but she's got to find something to insult this person for, because they're not miserable, they're not angry, so she has to find something to attack. They're too happy. You know, like, how do you bully someone who's clearly happier than you? You try to claim they're having some kind of drug-induced psychosis.
That with having some kind of fetish, existential delusion, it's just a problem. So you have to be balanced. You should have a certain amount of existential delusion, right? Like, you should be able to envision yourself being anything in the world. But if you don't balance that with the devilry inside of you, you come across looking like a serial killer, even when you're not even saying anything that crazy, other than calling yourself a girl, which is the craziest thing you could have said.
I just found out that Vanderbilt, where I got my top surgery done, is no longer offering gender affirming surgeries, and I cannot explain to you how absolutely fucking devastating this is to the trans community. If I had not been able to get top surgery,
Blair, we can see you. Like, what like she is Blair White is literally the definition of kicking the ladder down behind you. Like, are you anti-adults getting trans surgery now? Like, why are you doing the whole, because you've gotten all of your surgeries and, like, you've gotten millions of dollars probably worth of plastic surgery at this point, and all of your top and bottom surgeries and everything. And, like, Blair, you got top surgery. We can see them. We can see your 2 big pieces of evidence you got top surgery bursting through your blouse window. Like, okay, or whatever that is. Is that like a Chinese style? I forget what those are called. It's like it's mimicking that, like, Chinese style thing with, like, the little tie there and everything, and the pattern. I know I don't know the name, but I know what that is. Anyway, though, yeah, she's literally had top surgery, and she's like, oh, boo-hoo, you can't get top surgery to trans people who aren't able to get it because the government is shutting down institutions that previously offered it. Like, she is literally the biggest hypocrite imaginable. It's like, imagine if the anti-gay pastor was getting dicked down by another man while preaching on stage about how being gay is evil. Like, that's the equivalent of what we're watching here right now. Like, because she can't hide the fact that she's done all these things she's denouncing right now. It's her appearance. So, like, the only equivalent I can think of is if the anti-gay pastor was actively getting dicked down on stage. So, that aside, though, I don't think I can take any more of this because I hate Blair White. That's the moral of the story. Fuck Blair White.